Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukrainian troops are counter-attacking Russian forces with reports that they have gained ground near the capital Kyiv.
Ukrainians having a lot of respect for you because you could be somewhere else.
The Klitschko brothers here announcing that the cities of Makariv and Irpin have been retaken from Russian forces. 4 weeks into the war, and Russia has failed to capture a single major Ukrainian city. But the bombs and missiles keep on coming. Here, Bastion high-precision coastal missiles being launched by Russia. Mariupol has been the target of sustained attacks because of its strategic position along Ukraine's southern border. For weeks now, the city has been shelled near indiscriminately. One Human Rights Watch report describing the city as a freezing hellscape riddled with dead bodies and destroyed buildings.
From beginning in our hometown, Russians killed 264 civilians. We listen bombing attack right now, it can be more. From 264 civilians was 4 children.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked Japan to step up sanctions pressure on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine by introducing a trade embargo on Russian goods. Speaking by video link to Parliament in Tokyo in an unprecedented gesture accorded to a foreign leader, Zelensky thanked Japan for leading the way among Asian nations in condemning Russia's invasion and launching sanctions. In response, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said he planned to unveil more support measures for Ukraine and strengthen Tokyo's sanctions against Russia at a G7 meeting in Brussels. Pope Francis has said that buying more weapons was not the solution to any conflict. Francis asked participants at his weekly general audience to think about all the victims of the current war. Since the war started, Francis has implicitly condemned Russia for the invasion, but without naming it. The solution is to work together for peace, he said, as the Bible says, to transform weapons into instruments of peace. Somali state media says the security forces have thwarted an attack on a military base at the sprawling international airport complex outside the capital of Mogadishu. Mobile phone footage showed thick smoke rising from the area, which hosts international peacekeepers, the offices of UN organisations and diplomatic missions, as well as hotels. The Islamist group Al-Shabaab said its militants had attacked the biggest foreign military base in Somalia. Attacks by Al-Shabaab have become more frequent, while Somalis have been voting in much-delayed parliamentary elections. The Taliban have reversed a decision to allow Afghan girls to return to high schools, saying a ruling is still to be made on the uniforms they must wear. Schools were set to open nationwide after months of restrictions since the Taliban seized power in August. But the Education Ministry abruptly announced girls' secondary schools would stay shut, causing confusion. Many had earlier talked of how happy and excited they were to be back in the classroom. Search teams have found a black box from the China Eastern flight which nosedived into mountains in southern China this week, that's according to state media. Chinese aviation officials announced the finding at a press conference after 2 days of searching. Authorities are still yet to report the number of dead, but it is feared none of the 132 people on board survived the high-altitude crash. Investigators still do not know why the plane plummeted from the sky. At least one person has died after a large tornado tore through New Orleans, destroying homes and taking out power.
Bitch better not turn this way.
Videos showed the dark funnel cloud ploughing through neighborhoods on Tuesday night. It hit suburbs that were previously devastated by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Incredible footage has emerged of the twister tossing a pickup truck into the air and flipping it over. The storm chaser who filmed the scene says that moments later the car landed back on its wheels and the driver sped away, seemingly unscathed. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.